on tap is where we chat. Got the mic and we're so glad. Talking ball and all we had. Never gonna leave you sad. Swinging hard, we take a shot. Every game we hit the spot. Fuck the Mets, we say it loud. Philly stands above the crowd. Fuck the Mets, we shout.
So thanks to our AI band for making our new theme song.
That's right.
But I'm like sitting here, man, I want to get Fuck the Mets in a song. So, but I think it sounds cool. It's like supposedly Duran and, kind of a little bit Fuck the Mets, but upbeat. So welcome to episode 99. We're almost at 3 figures, so which is pretty cool. This is being brought to you by Jersey's. So Jersey's is in Glenside. It's officially called Jersey's Sports Bar and Pizzeria. It's at 2609 Mount Carmel in Glenside. It's kind of like where we go when we're kind of not watching the games at home, and a lot of our fans, and we hope you do too. Along with that, we have a special event coming up. So it's going to be November 29th from 12 to who knows, but 12 to 3 officially, where we're doing like just a winter meetup. So, what does that mean? Do you have to pay? Well, yeah, if you want to get beers and drinks, you have to pay. Do you have to get tickets? No. Anyone's welcome to come. It's pay as you go. We'll probably have some giveaways. Maybe we'll have some things to kind of like do or fun stuff, but it's just a chance for the DPF community to get together, drink some beers, talk some Phillies, and, maybe have a face-to-face that you haven't had before. A lot of people have met new friends through things like this we've done. So we're excited about it. It is November 29th, which is a Saturday, and it's the Saturday after Black Friday. Mike has a Black Friday event that he's going to be talking about, but this is that Saturday. Bring your family, bring friends, bring kids. Like Jersey's is open to anyone. It's not just like adults. The food is excellent. They have, I think, 200 beers in their bottle shop. They'll have 20 plus beers on tap, which will be some of the beers that's, kind of sponsor us. We'll have Well Crafted. We'll have Concha Hawk in there. There's going to be some others that are possibly there that are local. It's just local, supporting local. So come out 11/29 from 12 to ? At Jersey's in Glenside. It's scrolled across the bottom. DPF on Tap is brought to you by Jersey's.
Yeah. So I want to talk about some of our beer sponsors now. First one we're going to do is Dr. Brew Littles. I have their Orange Dog Nation White Ale right here. So they're over in Maple Shade. They're a pet-friendly brewery. You can bring your dog, have a beer with your dog, have a beer with a couple dogs, have a beer with your friends who are dogs. They also have a pretty cool Italian restaurant right up the street. You can get food from there and bring it in. They don't have food on the premises, but if you're in the Maple Shade area, check out Dr. Brew Littles and always go to your beer distributor and tell them to get some. And then I'm going to talk about Concha Hawk Brewing. I'm drinking their Hazy Life Coach IPA. So Conchi's got 4 locations. Let me get them all up here so I can tell you exactly where they are. The tap room in Conshohocken, the tap room in King of Prussia, Puddler's Kitchen and Tap in Bridgeport, and the rec room in Phoenixville. And they have a beer for all seasons. Phillies fans, you have a Ring the Bell. Eagles fans get a Mike and Merrill, or a Merrill and Mike. And the Flyers, you get the Jonesy's beer. So they got something that covers you for all sports. So again, check out one of their locations. The food's great. The beers are cold. And again, check them out in your beer distributor.
I heard they were going to have an Embiid beer, but he got hurt.
Yeah. Load management. That's the name of it. Like that's got it. It's like a low ABV. I mean, it's a home run.
Yeah, it might be an NA.
Maybe. So hey, well crafted, not crewery, but brewery. I was a little fat fingered there, I guess. 2 locations, one in Lansdale that I've been to many times, and one in Ambler that I am meaning to get to very soon. I know the guys have all been there. Check it out, though. So there's a little bit going on this weekend. In Lansdale, they got a mug club 15% off on Sunday. And there's a pop-up with Ken Peterkin on Saturday and Hootenanny Tweed, which are two bands. If you haven't been to Lansdale joint, they have a great little setup for local bands. So check them out. And then in Ambler, all weekend long, Rusted Pig by Comfort Food Truck. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday 4 to 9, and Saturday, Sunday 1 to 9. And what I'm drinking is a seasonal. They have a bunch of good IPAs and solid lagers and Czech pills, but this it's a long name. It's Americano Blonde Latte Pumpkin Ale. This thing is unbelievable. So if you're into the pumpkin ales, go check it out. And then we are going to be at Capone's. It's Norristown, correct?
That's it.
Yep, Capone's in Norristown on Black Friday. So if you guys are interested, the cool part about Capone's in Norristown is you don't have to go shopping, and you go there, you get some brunch, great food. I just vividly remember Chris plowing through a Monte Cristo a year or two ago. It was amazing. And they have at least 20 beers on tap. And these are things like Russian River, Pliny the Elder, or Pliny the Younger. These are not your Miller Lights and your Miller High Life. So check your ABV calculator and maybe take an Uber that day. But they got at least 20 beers on tap, and they do this thing where they break open older / rare bottles that day on Black Friday too. So check out Capone's. We'll be there Friday, and then Saturday we'll be at Jersey's. So come check us out today, or this in the next couple of weeks actually. So I wanted to roll right into some topics here, right? And you know, the thing that's on everybody's mind, free agency, right? So I just kind of went through. There's all kinds of lists, top 30, top 50, top 100, whatever, free agents. I picked through a bunch of lists, and I boiled it down to 5 position players and 5 pitchers. And I just want to throw out some stats and, kind of get Chris's spin on these guys. So we'll start with JT. We're intimately aware of JT's strengths and opportunities. He's 34-year-old catcher. He bats right-handed. He throws right-handed. You guys know he's one of the best, toughest catchers in Major League Baseball. He handles the pitching staff amazingly. He's one of the team leaders on and off the field. To kind of the downside of that is he's taken a beating over time. He catches, 130, 140 games a year. His bat's slowing down due to that wear and tear. And, just kind of wondering what kind of a hometown discount he might take to come back. 3 years and $60 million is what I'm thinking after doing a little bit of research would be sort of that discount. So, Chris, any thoughts on JT?
Yeah, so I think this is one of the situations where JT has to come back to Philadelphia, right? I mean, I don't think that we're like 100% like yay, because he's had like positives and negatives. It's been, he's a very good defensive catcher. His offense, I think he had a good month, whatever month that was, I'm not sure. But I think he comes back to the Phillies. I don't think it's 3 years, though. I think
2 years with an option, maybe a 2 and an option.
Exactly.
I think he had more than a good month. I think he had a good summer,
yeah.
And he hit well in the playoffs. But I don't like the 3rd year. I mean, he's going to be 35 when the season starts next year, and he's got a lot of miles on him. So I think when he goes, he's going to go quick,
Chris, the way we drink, the summer just feels like a month. And maybe it's not we, maybe it's me. I'm just like, the summer's just one continuous month.
Yeah. I think the big thing with JT is the problem is the players around him in the batting order are forcing him to bat in the 4 or 5 hole, and he's not a 4 or 5 hitter. He's got to be back in the 7 hole, somewhere back there. And if he gives you the production that he did this year out of the 7 hole, I think we're all happy. But out of the 5 hole, or 4 hole where he hit a lot this summer, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, I think when you guys hear me throw these numbers around, it's kind of a compilation of some places that I, looked into. So, all right, we'll go to the next one. Kyle Tucker, 29 years old, plays right field, hits left-handed, however, throws right-handed. He's been in a little bit of hurt, injury prone the last 2 seasons, not before that, but last 2 seasons he's missed significant time. All the experts are saying if he hadn't missed that time, he would have been commanding some of this Juan Soto like contract number. Last year /266, 377, 464 with 22 homers, 73 RBIs, and 25 stolen bases in 136 games. And really, he had an undiagnosed fracture of his hand. And if you take out the stats where he was playing with that injury, his slash line is much better. Looks like about $39 million average annual salary or so will sign him, and also 8 to 10 years. So that's like about 312 to 390 million to sign. Some predict teams will most likely get, or some of the predicted teams to most likely get Tucker are the Cubs, Dodgers, Yankees, Giants, Astros, or Phillies. Chris, your thoughts?
He's a Dodger.
Yeah, they've already deferred how many millions?
It's 100%
already.
He's a Dodger. So I wrote this program. It's called Drunk OPP. I don't know what the OPP means for if it's naughty by nature, but I put in these different permutations. Mike sent me over this is what his stats were, and it pumped it out, and it said Dodgers, and I'm going to agree. I'm going to say Dodgers as well.
All right. So I want to answer this one here. From Frank. He wants to say, how is Bregman an upgrade from Bohm? Let's talk about Bregman next. He's 32 years old, third baseman, clearly. Bats right, throws right. Limited to 114 games this past season due to injury. However, he did have an 882 OPS and 18 homers in those 114 games. This is a player who's been willing to take deferred money because he signed with the Red Sox a 3-year, $120 million deal that came with $60 million deferred. Looks like $40 million annual salary will get Bregman to sign. It'll be the years. He wants 6 or 8 years, between 6 or 8 years at 32 years old. I think 3 or 4 is more realistic. So call it 4 for 160. Chris?
Mike, he's also a Dodger.
The Dodgers did just pick up Muncie's option, so he's been playing third for them. So yeah, Bregman go over to second. I know he can play a little second too.
I mean, right. Muncie, they're just they don't care, Chris. He doesn't even have to play. He's just he's on the roster, and
he might just play after the All-Star break. That's all.
Yeah.
But to answer Frank's question, Bregman is not a crybaby, and I don't care how much money these people make anymore because it's not our money. So. All right, next one, Kyle Schwarber. You guys also intimately, know this player. He's 32 years old, bats left, throws right. Had a monster season in his contract year, 56 homers, 240 average, 132 RBIs that led all of Major League Baseball. His homers led the National League. 145 hits. He was the All-Star MVP. What does it take to sign him? He wants a long-term deal somewhere in the 6 to 8 year range and $50 million annually. Again, will he take a hometown discount and stay in Philly? We're not sure. Will anyone offer deferred money? I would imagine that will be in play for some organizations. This one looks like it'll get done in the beginning of December, according to the experts at the GM meetings. 5 years, $250 million. 5 years, $250 million. So, Chris?
He's going to be a Red Sox.
Right. That'll make our old center fielder happy. He's been texting me all year saying he wanted him back. Last position player is Bo Bichette, 28 years old, shortstop, second baseman, third baseman, mostly shortstop, but he's played a few games at the other 2 positions. Bats right, throws right, 311 average this past year, 18 homers, 94 RBIs, 181 hits. His 3-year, $33 million contract with the Jays expired. He looks to command somewhere in the $20 million year range. With his age and ability in the field and offensively, he could go 8 to 10 years, most probably 8 years, $160 million. Chris?
Yeah, so he's a Dodger. Because Mookie Betts, he can play anywhere. And I'm like, Bo Bichette, he's a Dodger. Just
there we go.
I want him to be a Philly, though. I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, I think his career batting average is like 297. He had a bad year last season, not this past season, but 2 seasons ago.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the only bad year he's had in the 6 or 7 years he's been in the majors. And he's just got tremendous bat to ball skills. Defense is okay. I think you could probably get away with him if you moved him out of short to third or second. I think he'd be great. He's a right-handed bat. He's 28. He'll be 28 when the season starts. I'd be all over Bo Bichette if I was the Phillies, especially with the talk of possibly moving Bohm. Who knows? Maybe they'll look to move Stott. He might have some value that you can move. But I would be all over Bo Bichette. I think he's the perfect guy for the Phillies.
Yeah, but then Chris, I agree with this. I think it's a situation where if you can get Bo Bichette, you're almost like, who's expendable? Well, depending on what you do, I want Bo Bichette to play second. I'd love him to play short, but Turner had a good year and he's not going to move. So we know it's a second because I'm over the Stott experience. I'm over the Bohm experience, but I'll get to that a little bit later today.
I would just think about it. You can have a 1-2 top of the order with Turner and Bichette, both 300 hitters, with 15 to 20 home run potential. Turner was stealing bases. I love the way that sets up.
Well, Topper would be like, we can't have 2 righties.
Yeah, you got to go right. Yeah, one of them will be batting 8th.
Yeah.
Couple honorable mention. Cody Bellinger. Where's he going, Chris?
He's a Dodger.
Eugenio Suarez.
Dodger.
Probably a Dodger.
Pete Alonso.
He's a Dodger.
And then
they can have that platoon of Freeman and Alonso right and left. They'll get 75 home runs out of their first baseman.
I'm gonna probably screw this one up, but Munetaka Murakami is being posted by his Japanese team. Where's he going?
That's Japanese for Dodger.
He's Dodger.
Thank you. All right, a couple pitchers, and then we'll move on. Dylan Cease, 30-year-old right-handed pitcher, 32 starts. Struck out over 200 batters last year. Been a durable pitcher throughout his career. Struggled a little bit this year with consistency with a 4.55 ERA and an 8.12 record. But that was kind of an anomaly year throughout his career. Experts are predicting a 5-year, $145 million contract in a league that's strapped for pitching. Where do you think he's going?
So I think he's a Dodger. As long as they're at least 27 million or above, you're a Dodger.
Cool. Another teammate of his out in San Diego, Michael King. This guy was hurt a lot this year. He had a shoulder and a knee injury, but he's 30 years old, right-handed pitcher. He did have a 3.10 ERA the last 2 seasons for the Padres. He's looking to bounce back. He only had 15 starts this year. They're looking at less years, about 3-year, $57 million deal. Could be a little bit longer with an opt-out in year 3 or 4 if he stays healthy for the organization that signs him. Who do you think that is?
So I think he could stay in the same state he is. He's going to be a Dodger.
Okay, there you go. Another guy we know well, this guy named Ranger Suarez. He's 30-year-old left-handed pitcher. When he's on, guys, he's as good as anybody as a pitcher in the league. That's when his velocity's in that 93 range. When his velocity's in that 89 range, he's average at best, and he gets hit around a little bit. Although his postseason heroics and calm demeanor are his calling card, some experts are putting Ranger in a 6-year, $150 million range. Where do you think he goes?
So I think he's either a Dodger or possibly a Met. But probably the Dodgers.
Speaking of Mets, 2 more. Speaking of Mets, Edwin Diaz opted out of his last 2 years of his Mets contract. I didn't think he was that smart of a guy, but he's turning out to be smarter than I thought. He's making about $20 million a year right now. He had 28 saves and 31 opportunities and 98 strikeouts in 66 and a third innings last year. Looks like the general consensus, expert-wise, is 4 years, $60 million to sign him. Where do you think he goes?
I mean, the Dodgers need a closer.
They need bullpen
There you
help.
go.
Yeah, he's Diaz is a Dodger.
And last one, Framebert Valdez, 32-year-old left-handed pitcher. He was up and down in 2025. First half of the season, he was 11-4 with a 2.62 ERA. Second half, 2-7 with a 6.05 ERA. He also possibly intentionally hit his catcher in the chest with a fastball when the catcher called a breaking ball after he gave up a home run. So kind of calling out his clubhouse appeal and how he is with his teammates. Word on the street is 7 years, $196 million. Let's see how that works out. If anybody, who do you think would sign him at that rate?
So when you look at this is that guy that like was constantly grabbing. I guess it's the fake dreads, and there was a belief that there was some substance on it. So he's a cheating fuck. And it's like, the money screams Dodgers, but like his personality screams the Mets to me.
There you go.
So
honorable mention the 4 guys. Devin Williams.
That's a Phillies move right there.
I was like, I think that's our new Jordan Romano.
Yeah.
Tetsuya Imai, another guy that's getting posted by his Japanese league team.
You're taking my Japanese thunder later.
I'm like,
naming all my guys. Come on.
Sorry, man.
That's all right.
Zach Eflin.
Bring him back here. I'll bring him back.
And Walker Buehler.
Bring him back.
That's all I got, guys.
I don't know. Before we go to Rob's segment, I just want to. So Alex got the first FTM in at 7. Max was like very, very, very shortly behind, and then Sig gave an FTM. Steve might have been quicker if he didn't write "fuck those Mets." Fuck those Mets.
Yeah, the funniest part about Sig and Alex is they're sitting on the couch together, but they're commenting on different devices.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, jerseys is wonderful. So Steve's a big believer in jerseys. So this is awesome. We had Ray with FTM. What's up, fellas? So Ray and Dez recently got engaged up in Gettysburg. So that's really cool. I don't know how you made this happen with Dez, Ray, but I hope you make her happy because she makes great lemon cake. So I'm gonna say that. Steve, go to jerseys. That's how he met the crew. So that's a case in point. We didn't know Steve before we kind of were going out to these places. Go out, find cool places, and we're telling you when it is. So let's, Rob, what do you have?
First, I have to unmute myself. So I was looking at JT because, he is a free agent, so we don't know. He's probably coming back, and they'll probably overpay, and they'll probably give him 1 or 2 many years, too many years on the contract. So, but I was thinking about, like, where does JT rank as far as all-time catchers go for the Phillies? And I tell you what, doing some research, I got surprised. Now, JT is, JT is in the top, like, 5 to 10 of almost every statistical category for the Phillies, but he's not at the top. And that, like, I wasn't sure who was going to be there, but it turns out that Mike Lieberthal is far and away, like, the number 1 catcher that the Phillies have ever had in terms of games played, home runs, I believe RBIs. So, yeah, I have it here. 610 RBIs, 534 runs. This is Lieberthal. 1,155 hits. 2 All-Star games. I'll get back to that one. A Golden Glove and 64 errors. And he threw out 29.5% of all potential base runners, which is pretty good. He did have 8 stolen bases too, and if you remember Mike Lieberthal, the dude was fucking slow. he just couldn't run, and it was pretty funny. But I was surprised that he had even 8. And then further down, so like Lieberthal, I would probably put 1, although Darren Dalton would be right there too. And I think people can argue that. But Dalton played, 14 years, 137 homers, 489 runs, only had 858 hits. Because if you remember Dalton early in his career, he was such
terrible.
He flirted with the Mendoza line quite often, and the Mendoza line often rejected him.
Yeah.
Early on. He did steal 48 bases, never got a Golden Glove, made 3 All-Star games. He had 66 errors as a catcher because he played a little bit elsewhere in his career later on. But he threw out 29.3% of his potential base runners, potential stolen bases. So kind of knew that about. And then the only other guy that I thought to maybe compare him to is Chooch. But Chooch's numbers, other than like games played, Chooch's numbers are not that they're not that lofty. But he does have something that neither Dutch nor JT nor Lieberthal. He's got a fucking ring. You know what I mean? So that alone probably puts him in the top 5. And he had a lot of really good moments.
And the no-hitters that he caught.
That's exactly right. Like
I think Chooch's thing was the game calling, like how good he was at calling a game and working with his pitchers. I think
it's an art.
Long card.
It's there's an innate art to that you have to know your pitcher, but you also have to know the umpire, know the batter.
Yeah.
There's all of these things. Know the winds, know if it's coming in, it's going in. Like there's all of these things that I think he was in tune with.
Yeah, it's the only position on the field where the game takes place entirely in front of you. Everybody else has shit behind them for the most part. Outfielders, but whatever. So Chooch, for that reason alone, is up there. So I would throw JT, like after looking at JT, I was like, all right, 7 seasons. He's got 130 plus home runs. But to put him in the top 5, because he also handles the pitchers really well. He also, he does a really good job behind the plate. He does a good job. He shakes his head when crazy fucking stupid assholes come into the game and makes a meme out of them. So, top 5, I would say, with these guys. And then there was some dude, hold on. And I don't know if you guys know who this guy is. But
don't say Bob Boone.
No, I looked at Bob Boone and I was like, meh, where the fuck? Oh, I don't even know how to say this guy's last name. Dugan? Red Dugan?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was born in 1879, but he played a hell of a lot of games for the Phillies. So if you want to throw him in the top 5, you can do that too. So if JT walks, if he goes elsewhere and signs elsewhere, then maybe he finishes as a top 5 catcher all time. But the options out there are terrible. So I would really hate to see him leave at this point.
So I think there's some valuable things there, though, that you said, and mostly with the Chooch part, because we can win a World Series without a guy being, like this stud hitter and a catcher. So maybe that's okay, right? The other thing I want to bring up is, I really want you to review your numbers, Rob, because I 100% think Bobby Estalella has to be up there, and John Walkenfuss have to be in the top 5.
Ozzie Virgil.
Yeah. Are you sure?
No.
Lance
and that's
Parrish.
Chris Coast.
It was tough. It was really tough to put together a top 5.
Where's Andrew Knapp at, man? Come on.
That's my dude. Nappy Dugout, man. I think I called all 2 of his
Darren Ruff.
So yeah, so not a whole lot of stiff competition amongst the backstops for the franchise, but still worth taking a look at, I think, because what we're seeing JT do is kind of impressive.
Yep.
Yeah, except when he hits grounds into double plays.
He does that a lot.
Quite a bit. I
think
didn't look up.
You have to like it if you do it that much, right? You gotta like it.
Him and Bohm are like really into that shit.
Oh, they love it. Yeah, it's like they fucking.
Is it JT hits the ball hard and it turns into double play, and Bohm just can't run and it turns into, I don't know,
Yes.
I don't know.
Well, Bohm has no power. That was one of the things when the one guy was, I don't know who our commenter was, who was talking about Bohm being better than Bregman. It was like, yeah, there's nothing better than a slappy fucking third baseman. Everybody wants one of them.
Yep. All right. Well, I wanted to get into not necessarily this past World Series, but World Series of the past, because I think the World Series that we just watched, obviously it was two teams that we freaking hated, the Dodgers and the Blue Jays. But all in all, if you watched it, it was a really good series. You had one game go 18 innings, and Game 7 went into extra innings with both teams having opportunities to win the game late. And the Dodgers ended up winning on a Will Smith home run. So 6 straight years of a player named Will Smith winning the World Series. So the Phillies better get on that and get a Will Smith on their roster. So I wanted to look at kind of what the experts call the top 10 World Series of all time. Because this one was so good, I think it's going to rank somewhere in those in that top 10 eventually when history looks back at this World Series. So number 10 is the 1997 World Series between the Marlins and the Indians, with the Marlins winning 4-3. That went 7 games, obviously, and it was won by an Edgar Renteria walk-off in the bottom of the 11th.
Chris, it's so surprising that's number 10. Like number 10, I remember where I was. I was at Roosevelt's. I remember, that it was Luis Gonzalez, right?
No, that was the Diamondbacks.
Oh, that was 22.
It's on this list. I'm going to
Okay.
get to that one. It's on here.
Okay.
Yeah, this was 97. The Marlins and the Guardians. I think wasn't that the Levon Hernandez year where he was unbelievable in the playoffs. Eric Gregg had the plate that was like,
brutal
in both batters boxes. I think he struck out like 18 guys in the NLCS against the Braves. It was something ridiculous. Number 9, they have the 2004 World Series between the Red Sox and the Cardinals. Now, the Red Sox swept that series. It was, a sweep, but it was Boston broke their 86-year curse of winning the World Series. And it was also the year that they came back from down 3-0 against the Yankees. So they were down 3-0 and they went on and won 8 straight games to win the World Series.
Do you agree with that being there? Because like a sweep, to me,
I don't agree with it as far as a World Series goes, but the historical value of the Red Sox winning after 86 years of not winning, I think is why it's probably in the top 10. Just that situation. But number 8, the 1924 Washington Senators versus the New York Giants, with the Senators winning 4-3. In this game, Walter Johnson came in relief and won Game 7 in extra innings for the Senators. I know we all remember that one, 1924.
Oh yeah, that was fantastic.
Wasn't Walter Johnson a starter?
He was. Yeah.
And he came out of the bullpen.
Yep.
It's a clever thought, though.
How about it? Yeah.
Surprised he didn't just start all 7 games, that guy.
Yeah, he probably made 4 starts in that World Series. Number 7, the 2011 World Series, the Cardinals versus the Rangers, with the Cardinals winning 4-3. The Cardinals were down to their final strike twice in Game 6 and still came back. And David Freese kind of became a St. Louis legend with how well he played in that series. This one, fuck the Mets, but the 1986 Mets-Red Sox series with the Mets winning. You had the Bill Buckner game where the ball went through Buckner's legs, and that kind of set the tone for Game 7, and the Mets went on to win that series and come back and win the last 2 games.
Are the Mets the Cowboys now?
They're getting close.
That's VHS shit, right?
That is 1986. Number 5, the 1960 World Series, the Pirates versus the Yankees, with the Pirates winning. The Yankees blew them out. They outscored the Pirates left and right, but the Pirates ended up winning all the close games, and this was the Bill Mazeroski walk-off home run in Game 7 in 1960. Number 4, here's the one you were just talking about, Chris. 2001 Diamondbacks versus the Yankees, where Arizona walked it off against Mariano Rivera. And you had Johnson and Schilling, both starters for Arizona in that series. The Diamondbacks 1-7. Number 3, 1991, the Twins versus the Braves, with the Twins winning.
Jack Morris.
5 games. 5 games in this series were decided by 1 run, and Jack Morris threw a 10-inning shutout in Game 7. 2016, the Cubs versus the Indians, with the Cubs winning the World Series. That ended the Cubs' 108-year drought. Game 7 went extra innings after a rain delay, and Rajai Davis hit a game-tying home run in that game to force extra innings. And I think we're at number 1. The number 1 is the 1975 World Series, the Red Sox versus the Reds, with the Reds winning 4-3. Game 6 featured the Carlton Fisk iconic home run where he was waving it fair. You had 2 powerhouse teams with, the Big Red Machine and the Red Sox, and every game went down to the wire, all close games. So the 1975 World Series gets the number 1 World Series of all time, according to baseball experts.
So what in our lifetime was number 1 then, Chris? Like one that we actually saw? Was it the Twins? Because that's the one I remember the most.
That was number 3 on the list, but I think that one's up there. That was a great series.
Yeah.
Really good. The Braves had that powerhouse pitching back then with Glavine and Smoltz and Maddox and Jack Morris was just a stud. Kent Herbeck, Kirby Puckett. The Twins had, I still remember that catch Puckett made against the plexiglass,
and the Metrodome.
Yeah. I can remember that as watching that in '91. That was a great series. The 2001 Diamondback Yankee series that you referenced was a great series as well. And I think this past series, this year is going to be in that top 10 one day.
I think it has to be. And, the one that I would bump out is like, how long was it since the Red Sox? Like, how was the sweep in there?
Years. Yeah.
Well, the Phillies had 97 years without winning one. Why isn't that there? Well, because it wasn't a great World Series.
It
just
World
wasn't.
Series. Yeah. But I can see why they included it, because of course it's the Red Sox. Everybody loves
it. There's some poetic beauty to the Red Sox.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So there you go. There's a top 10, but I think this year's will be in there. If we look back 5 years from now, that one will be in there. Great series.
Cool. I'm going to keep the free agent train rolling with some trivia. I got a couple of bonus questions too. But here's the main one. These 5 players are widely considered the top free agent signings in Phillies history. Who are they?
Bryce Harper.
That's 1.
Top 5 free agent signings of all time for the Phillies.
Was Steve Carlton? No, Steve Carlton wasn't free. What about
Zach Wheeler?
Zach Wheeler, number 2.
Yeah.
Cliff Lee.
Cliff Lee, number 4.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I think Lance Parrish and Tartabull are going to be left off the list, but just left off.
How about Jim Thome?
Jim Thome was number 3.
Yeah.
So one more.
Pete Rose.
Negative.
He's probably just left off, though, because that is like, a really good one.
Moses Malone.
Free agent signing. Wow.
Current player.
Turner,
number 5. Bonus question number 1. One player who is not a free agent but acquired for nothing and became a star for the Phillies.
Shane Victorino.
Got it. Bonus question number 2. Acquired in 1979, this free agent helped bring the first title to Philadelphia.
Pete Rose.
He was just off of that 5
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Really quick, before we go on to the next topic, hey guys, if you haven't checked out DPF on Ice for all of your Flyers talk, a couple of the guys on this show are on that show as well, and we have some new blood that are super hockey fans. And I know we're trying to get some hockey expert guests on, but check them out. That's next Thursday, which is November the 13th at 7 p.m. Check them out. You'll see it on our pages, but mark it down on your calendars if you're a Flyers fan. And if you have not followed DFF yet on all of our socials, follow that.
Mike, that's really cool. And we're going to try to get you off because the Flyers are playing the Predators tonight at 8. So we're going to try to blast through this, but we might not because we have, a bunch of
got a lot of
things
stuff
going
to
on.
go on.
All right. Well, I'm not going to talk for too long. So I just wanted to talk about the awards, the MLB awards, the 3 Phillies, 2 Phillies and one and Rob Thompson, who are up for awards, up for National League awards. As you know, Topper is up for both Manager of the Year and Chronicles of the Year. He will.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I'd say they just announced it today. They weren't even sure they were going to give out the award.
They're having the ceremony at a Tim Hortons.
Is there other Chronicles? Like,
you got
is there a chance?
It's possible. There might be a Pat Murphy Chronicles somewhere. But that's what I was going to say is I think that guy is a lock to win his second in a row. The guy in Milwaukee, and just watching them play and hearing the way that the announcers were just all over his jock. It was kind of sickening, but when you watch the way he manages, he does things that good managers do and don't leave the fan base fucking scratching their head or screaming.
Rob, I think Thompson did, I'm not a huge Thompson guy, even though the Chronicles is a good thing.
Right.
I feel like he did such a great job this year, though.
This year, absolutely.
Wheeler out and this guy out and this guy hurt. I really feel they're so not going to give someone 2 in a row that he might get it.
Right. The other candidate, the other finalist is Francona. And I just the Reds, maybe they outperformed expectations. But I just don't think they had a special season. I think the Brewers had a special season. Obviously, the Dodgers did. Roberts isn't up for it. And the Phillies had a special season because they won a fucking shit ton of games and they were the number 2 seed going into the playoffs. It's just that fucking last couple of years they haven't been able to get over that hump.
I'd give it to Francona just for knocking the fucking Mets out.
Well, I mean,
I like that.
If it's not going to be Topper, fuck the Mets, right?
But yeah. I agree, Chris. I think Topper did a really good job this year. And I really like that he kind of got a set of balls in the second half and just decided, hey, Nick, you're not an everyday guy anymore. And it worked for a while. Kepler, when he was put in the right spot, Kepler hit for a little while. Marsh really came around. Once they got Bader in there every day, that outfield finally became productive when it sucked for 3/4 of the season. So it was nice to see him finally say, hey, enough's enough. We need to win games, and you're not getting it done, Nick. So you're going to be on the bench, against tough righties, and we're going to play Kepler. Unfortunately, it didn't work through the playoffs, but they finished with the second best record in baseball. Yeah. With Wheeler going down, Alvarado getting suspended in May, you patchwork bullpen most of the season. Nola got hurt, so you were kind of rotating guys in and out as that 5th starter. Turner was hurt for a little while.
I think that's a good point, Chris. If you go in and we said, listen, Nola's going to be terrible all season. And Wheeler's going to be out for a portion of it. And we don't have this guy. And Romano is not and they're going to win 96 games. How's that possible? I think you have to give it to Rob this year because
I thought he managed well. Yeah, I thought he managed the team well. I mean, there were games obviously that we look back on, you go, he gave it away. This was a bad decision But I think
Chris, those games were all early, so don't worry about those.
And they were when Romano was brought in.
Well, that's what I was going to say is that he used Duran the right way. And so you can tell that he kind of learned towards the end of the season. And it was 4 games. It wasn't his fault that the fucking bats went cold. So he, just
and even in the playoffs, I agreed with a lot of his decisions.
That's what I'm saying. Just because they didn't perform.
I wasn't mad about any of them.
I know people didn't like bringing Duran in that 7th inning but I thought the game was on the line right then. You brought your best reliever in with the game on the line. I don't care if it's your closer. You had to get out of that inning. And unfortunately, I think Duran walked like 3 guys in his entire time here last year, and he ends up walking, Betts and walks the run in. I don't know. I mean, walking Ohtani, you can argue like he was struggling, but he was struggling against the lefties. Like I walking Ohtani, I didn't have a problem with it either, intentionally walking him. I thought this is the best hitter in the world. Walking him in there, I would rather somebody else beat me than Ohtani in that situation. I thought he played it right. It just didn't. Nothing worked. Nothing he did in the playoffs worked, even when I thought he made the right decision.
Right. Yeah. All right. And speaking of Ohtani, he is one of the 3 finalists for MVP. The Phillies have Schwarber, and despite having that monstrous power season, I just don't think they're going to give it to anybody but Ohtani. I think Ohtani walks away with it.
I think it comes down to the bats.
Yeah, it's Brian. This is a great question. So Brian asked, did they get past the Dodgers if they have both Wheeler and Alvarado? I mean, they still lose 1-0, right? That's the type of thing that we're at.
Right. And lastly, the last award that the Phillies are vying for is Sanchez with the Cy Young. And I really want to see him get it. I think he turned himself, that he became the ace of the staff and the rock of the staff when Wheeler went down. And I know they're going to give it to Skeens. I already fucking know it. But I just can't bring myself to this new way of evaluating where it's all about all the numbers except for wins. And the guy's got a 500 record. For me, that doesn't float. But I think they're going to end up giving it to Skeens. But Sanchez had a hell of a fucking season. And if he won, which I think he deserves, I don't think it would be wrong.
I mostly agree with you, Rob, but a 1.97 ERA over an entire season without being hurt at all is unbelievable.
Yeah. I think he only had 1 game where he gave up over 3 earned runs.
Yeah, and Sanchez had that one bad game where it might have even been closer, but there was like that one game towards the mid-end to the season, and it was just like, you knew that was it.
Right.
You knew that was it.
It was a poorly timed bad game.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, Skeens probably wins 18 games if the Pirates can score 2 runs for him.
I know, right?
Yeah, like it's crazy,
This is a good question here, and I'll add to Steve's question. What about a 6-man rotation? So you have less innings on arms, like the Dodgers starters had less innings when the playoff time comes. But the Dodgers starters had less innings because they just didn't pitch them until after the All-Star game. So,
and I think that they play possum.
What do you
like? I think
a lot. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So is the 6-man the way to go, or is it you just put them on the IL until after the All-Star game because that's what the Dodgers.
You could do that too, because that
6 of one, half dozen the other. Right?
Yeah, that's proven to work.
Yeah,
I think we're this belief, and I'm on board with that. Like Wheeler's like, I like to pitch every 5. All right, well, Zach, I'm going to let you do what you want. I think there's a point to where it's like, all right, like Zach, do you want a championship? And we think this is what's best. So I don't know. It's tough, I think, for a guy like Zach to like say that we're not going to throw you every 5 when that's what you want to do. And I don't know if he can do that, but I was recently watching that documentary with Iverson, and he was kind of talking about this load management. He's like, could you imagine telling me, I'm not talking about practice, like I'm talking about you telling me I'm not going to play this game. And he's like, no, he's like, I wanted to play 82. And I feel like pitchers, there's something okay and good about that. It worked for the Dodgers though. So there's like this belief that like, now it's like, okay, well,
but I don't think we've seen Wheeler like have a dead arm in the playoffs. Like he's pitched great in the playoffs. Like it hasn't like all the innings he pitches in the regular season. I think he gets stronger the more he throws. A guy like Wheeler. Now you might have other guys on the staff that like Ranger, who may need that little 4-week break. If he, in August, and then be ready to come back and pitch, late September into October. Like it might be a pitcher by pitcher, evaluation of how these guys handle all that inning and all those innings and all that wear and tear. The Dodgers are just a scam of a fucking team, and I fucking hate everything they do. I fucking hate every guy on that team. I fucking hate the way the league just falls over and sucks their cocks. I hate it all. I hate it all, and I hate that they won that World Series. I wanted the little engine that could in Toronto, a bunch of no names, a little fat catcher that I was, Alejandro Kirk. I wish he would have hit a ball in the gap and won that goddamn game. Like I was pulling for 1993. Be damned, I was pulling for the Blue Jays, and I'm not afraid to say it because I think the Dodgers have literally ruined the game of baseball. I think they've built a super team, and they're going to keep building. Like I 100% agree with you, Chris. I think Kyle Tucker is going to be a goddamn Dodger. Yeah. He's going to be a Dodger. The best free agents are going to be Dodgers. All the Japanese guys are going to be Dodgers. Like it's just the way. It's just
Tadahito Iguchi not being here. He had a great fucking time here.
Yeah. What about Taguchi? Weren't they the same guy?
He had a great time here.
Yeah. Chanho Park. Come on.
They fucking loved their time here. Yeah, but they loved it.
Yeah.
Is it possible that one or two of these really, really good Japanese players just hates Ohtani and wants to come to the Phillies to just destroy him one year? Like, is that possible?
Separate themselves from him, like not be on his coattails, Like
they probably like money a lot more than they hate him, though.
Damn it, Rob.
They love fucking gambling too.
This is true. This is true, and it's a lot closer to Vegas.
Yeah. That's another great point. Well, we got AC here. Would you say it was the Appalachian?
Nashville is the Appalachian AC. Without the beach.
Brian, that's an also good point.
That's a fantastic point.
Yeah. No secondary lead there for Connor Falefa.
And he got thrown out by literally that much.
Yep.
Jesus Christ. We got a ton of shit to do. So I'm going to get to this one real quick. So I don't know how big or how small this is, but I wanted to break down baseball into different eras. And why I wanted to do this is I think it's important to understand that there is a change in baseball throughout the years. And I've kind of grouped it into, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different eras. And I want to kind of start where we are now. And now we're kind of in that batch launch angle. But before it was sabermetric. So that was important. And, there was a certain point where we all knew the steroid era was bad, but it was a lot of fucking fun, man.
It was fun.
It was a lot of goddamn fun. But there was in the steroid era, there was still people like Greg Maddux and, Tony Gwynns that were able to do those type of things. When we kind of go backwards from that, there was, I'm kind of going to the free agent era and I'm going quick here, but that's where Nolan Ryan, Pete Rose, all of those kind of different changes came in. And it was you're not playing for the same team all the time. So that's where a lot of that different $1 million players that started in that particular era. When we move before that, it's this integration era. And I feel are the Phillies in the midst, even though they want to now, the Phillies would not sign a black player. They were one of the last, along with, Boston. And they passed on Willie Mays. They passed on Hank Aaron, all these stories, Ernie Banks. But we want these Japanese players, but they just don't want to come to this coast as much. I just don't understand how they fucking want to go to Chicago over somewhere like Philadelphia. It's always Seattle and LA, but I feel we're on the cusp of another integration era because there are so many Japanese, Korean players that are coming into the league. I think it's I don't know what the percent of American born players are, but I got to say it's the lowest it's ever been, this year and maybe this coming year. Kind of moving backwards, you're like looking at the dead ball era and, or the live ball era. So the dead ball is like pre Babe Ruth, and then Babe Ruth comes in 1920. And, that had to be another great time to be a player. Probably not as great time to be a pitcher if you're facing, Babe Ruth. But before those, this is like pre 1900. I just wonder, like, guys, where would you, like, if you could go back in time and watch 10 years of worth of baseball, and I know that this isn't 10 years of each, but some of them are roughly 10, like, what's your favorite era of baseball? And is it always when you were a child? Like, is it that group? Or are you like, I would love to go back to pre-prohibition baseball, 1800s, 1900s?
So I can start that. I think I would love to do that end of that free agency era into the steroid era, and it's because of some of those pitchers you mentioned, but also the guys who did their cycle and hit 100 home runs every year, and it was fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And we had Lenny Dykstra, so that was cool for the Phillies.
Okay. So you're like 77 and 93.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that same era, Mike. I kind of like it because I think like pitchers were pitchers back then. Like the guys like Nolan Ryan and Randy Johnson later, like those real power pitchers, they stood out throwing 95 plus. Where now every guy in the goddamn league throws 95 plus. And so nobody's special anymore, You got to throw 105 to be special in today's game.
Right.
Yeah.
And you did have home run hitters, but you had guys that put the ball in play. Strikeouts were frowned upon. Today, strikeouts are just considered an out, Guys aren't embarrassed to turn their tail and walk back to the dugout after striking out. Back then, guys didn't want to strike out. They wanted to put the ball in play. They wanted, you had hit and run, you had stealing, you had the bunting. I think baseball was more situational back then. Baseball was more, there was more thought. There was more fundamentals played. Just watching guys catch the goddamn ball in the outfield today. They're catching it all down here with runners on base. If you go back and you watch games from the 80s and early 90s, they're here the way we were all taught to catch it with the second hand so you can throw the ball, to home plate. Like, I think that's severely like the guys today are so much better athletes and so much better well-conditioned than guys back then that their talent and their athleticism alone make them great ball players. But guys from back in the 80s and 90s were great ball players because they were great baseball players. They knew how to play the game. They played the game the right way. Guys without tremendous athletic ability could be really good baseball players because they were very fundamentally sound. And that's the era of baseball I love. I love watching guys play baseball.
Yeah.
Two quick stats from that era, one for Gwynn, one for Maddox, right? Maddox, around 21,000 batters faced. 377 of those went to a 3-0 count. 280 of those were intentional walks. Like, just let that fucking sink in for a quick second. And then Tony Gwynn struck out, I think it was 23 times in the 80s. The entire decade, 23 times.
Yeah, that's like 4 games for Schwarber.
It's amazing.
You know what? And the other thing, like when you put this all into perspective and look at this timeline, I feel like, unfortunately, and this is like not a good thing with baseball, I feel like early, so I'm talking about the first kind of 3 eras that I'm talking about. So, the pre-modern era, the dead ball, and then the live ball, there's a lot of cheating going on, a lot of gambling, a lot of illegal stuff. And then if you look at the last 3, I don't know, it's kind of been the same, right? So there's like the steroid era, sabermetrics. Emmanuel Clase immediately comes to mind, and I know that's like just last year. That one's so obvious. This dude's never going to play again. But like, how much is like that nonsense going on? And we figure like, oh, that's 100 years ago. We're past that. We're going to figure it out. Well, these sites like FanDuel, they're like, I don't know, the betting's so heavy on Emmanuel Clase's first fucking pitch that we know it now. So I feel like there's also a lot of cheating on both ends. I don't know if we saw as much of that in the era that we we loved, and I'm more in the free agency era or in the expansion era. So like, I think that like the mound change in 68, I guess it was, because like you look at like Bob Gibson, with his ERA in the 1.12, like that's just outrageous.
Right.
That's incomprehensible. And just like, I miss being able to be mean to pitchers. Really, like if someone did something mean as a pitcher, you're going to be able to face them.
Yeah.
I miss that. And I feel like that lacks some accountability now because there's a DH. Because like, I'm not going to throw at someone and know that I'm not getting it back when I'm batting. And now like, there's not that.
Now you brought up
I'm still throwing at people. I don't care.
You brought up the change of the mound. You guys were both pitchers, Mike and Chris. Like when you went to another field and they had that high mound and you went out there to warm up, I mean, didn't it feel like you were on top of the world? Like your curveball was breaking like 2 feet more than it normally does.
Oh,
100%.
I would see that. I was like, it's a slider and fucking curveball type of day, boys.
Yeah, it's amazing when you go to those fields and it's just like, oh wow, look at this, look at this. You're literally walking up the hill to get to the pitching rubber. I used to love when I showed up at fields like that.
I think my slider might have been faster than my fastball sometimes, to be honest with you. And I was, I was excited to be able to throw it. Like,
falling downhill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who did you like text Boise to wake up today?
He must be off from work.
Some good shit, man.
He must be off from work. He needs proper punctuation though.
Dugan, why is he have to disrespect things like that? Like, I don't know.
I don't know, dude.
I love it.
Funny though.
This is knotty pine. This is expensive wood behind you.
That's what I say, Chris. I'm like, I got that inside the house. I was like, I fucking love the knotty pine.
Knotty pine,
We just love all kinds of nostalgic shit, right?
That's all.
It's a throwback.
So are we going 2 hours today, or are we gonna take the rest?
I think we need to. I think we need. Yeah.
I was going to say I'll go back to the expansion error, and that's it. That's all I'll say. Expansion error.
I'm just gonna put one last thing up, and then we'll just kind of go around the horn. I think this makes sense to kind of end it with because we've been talking about this, and I want to just. I'm gonna voice what he said. Okay, is that fair?
Fair.
I think there are some big spots where I think you're trying so hard that it just gets to you. Everything is so heightened and you're so hyper-focused that you see something and you don't even know why you swung. It just happens. Guys, look at this face. Do you want this man back here? And he said that. Like, that's what he said. He basically said, I don't have the moxie, the guts to be able to play in difficult situations.
He looks like a guy. He looks like a guy whose pack of cigarettes got wet because he was standing at the bus stop for too long. He looks depressed.
It's a soft pack.
Yeah, he was absolutely.
Well, he had a high dose. He's not going to fucking hard pack it, and people know he's got the Newports.
This is true.
So
it's time to move on.
This is the difference. Someone asked earlier between Alec Bohm and Alex Bregman, right? Bregman wants to play in the playoffs. He steps up in the playoffs. He steps up in big situations, and Alec Bohm cowers in the corner and says shit like you just read. And that's the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I would love Bregman, as like a 2-year guy just waiting for Aiden Miller to, be ready to go. Now, I saw something where they were talking about, the Phillies being interested in Quan again. But they said that the Guardians, Miller's like the starting point. And I don't know if I'm willing to do that for Quan. another left-handed hitting outfielder. But Bregman, I would take him on a 2-year deal, if he would accept that. Just waiting for Miller to be ready to play.
Yeah, so this is unbelievable. Steve Mold is campaigning against Alec Bohm. And then he gives me a hard
next,
time.
Nola?
Right?
Or like pulling it out of nowhere. Like I was just like, I hope Alec Bohm's not here anymore.
We tortured him the other day. You posted the thing about Bohm, and then I posted the thing about Reese, and Mold's head was spinning. He didn't know what to do.
Poor Steve.
So I went and complimented Boyce, and then he fucking puts this up there. Come on, Boyce.
I don't think he's the best pure hitter. I don't know.
Yeah,
he's a good hitter, but he's not a clutch hitter in the playoffs, and that's what we. If you want to be a perennial playoff team, you need clutch guys, and
you need guys who want the spotlight, not to hide behind someone that's taking the spotlight. That's all.
Yep. Yeah. So, guys, the 100th episode is coming up next. I think it's like 11/22 or so. So,
20th.
It's pretty awesome that we're able to achieve that together. I hope you all join that. We're going to have a great show. I don't know what we're going to do or talk about, but I think it should just be like one of our normal shows. Just kind of like doing what we do, and I can see the viewership and a lot of FTM. So I'm like, I have a difficult time in this time of year without baseball. And I was like, the time change comes in, and I'm like, I don't know. And like Renee was like, you've been like extra grumpy. And I was like, well, yeah, it's like, at 5 o'clock feels like 6. I'm like, I don't have anything to drink to. And she's like, she's like, when did you ever need a fucking reason? She don't say the bad words. And I was like, no, that's a good point. I was like, maybe I'm just trying to like, I don't know. I'm trying to lower my LDL. I don't know if that has anything to do with fucking drinking, guys. But I look forward to baseball and talking with you guys and talking with, everyone here. So let's wrap it up. So I guess we can watch the Flyers. What are other people's thoughts?
Butcher, go ahead, man.
Yeah, so I agree with Chris. Fortunately, I am deeply involved in the Flyers. Hopefully, they can just keep us interested all year. The Eagles are obviously doing well. I'm a Sixers fan. But baseball was my first love when I was a little kid, and not having it kind of sucks. We went to the flea market the other day. I'll tell you a real quick story. Ended up talking to this guy who was selling, I saw he had a couple books out. So I bought a 1984 edition of the Philadelphia Phillies encyclopedia, and then like a 1982 edition of the Phillies history and pictures. And it's really cool to look through those things and not have the modern shit in there. And these are both written right after World Series appearances or within that time frame. So it's kind of a different perspective, even though all the stories are the same that we've already heard. But it helps fill the fucking winter months with some good baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah. And fuck the Mets.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like reflecting on 100 episode coming up. Like, when we started this thing, we didn't know how it was going to go, and I think we've gone through many changes and with format changes and the way we do things. I'm just proud of when we get on here. I think everybody does a really great job. Everybody's well prepared. We have good things to talk about. Great back and forth conversations. We laugh at each other. We make jokes. We, fuck the Mets left and right. So I'm really proud of what we've accomplished, and getting to 100 episodes is no small feat. It's just something to be proud of. And the Phillies, luckily, have been good the past few years, so they give us a lot of good stuff to talk about. But they're bad enough that they give us enough bad things to talk about too, when we can really lay into them. So I think it's been a great formula for what we do here at Drunk Phils Fans, and the way we approach not just the podcast, but the page and everything. So I'm proud of you guys, and I'm thankful to get to talk to you guys, especially in the off season, because baseball is my life, and you guys bring a lot of knowledge, and I learn a lot from you every time we sit on here and talk. So thank you guys, and I look forward to doing 100 more.
Well said.
Yeah. I mean, I think back and I got a phone call from Chris Nowazik, and he said, "Hey, man, been asked 100 times by these folks that gather on this place I built called Drunk Phil's Fans to do a podcast, and would you be interested in being on?" And I get goosebumps talking about it. I'm getting them right now. It's to your point, Dugan, like it's so cool to gather with folks that are passionate about not just the Phillies, of course the Phillies, but about baseball. And, we spend some time diving into, the statistics, and we've read on some things. We clearly watched more games than most. And, to be coming up on 100 episodes is amazing. And Chris started this off with, hey, come out to Jerseys on the 29th, because you never know who you might meet and who might be, you might become friends with. And I will tell you, this community got me through a really hard time recently. So super thankful for that. Super thankful for this platform. And in case you guys haven't heard this lately, if you're 45 years old or older and you haven't gotten a colonoscopy, get one. It could save your life, because it saved mine. So thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you on the 100th.
Yeah, see you at 100. Don't be like this asshole. This fucking mopey motherfucker. Good night, guys. Go Flyers.
Fucking
Go
right.
Flyers. Fuck the Mets.